money. I've been driving around in my car looking for some kind of open bar.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's day 19. Happy birthday, Goose. Today's vlog is going to be a little bit different. Over on my buddy Drew's channel, he got the update to the 3.0 version of the firmware on his Sony a7R III. He took the time to review the firmware and to share a couple of the new features. Sony gave 3 major features to that software. Some changes to eye autofocus working in servo mode. On the Sony, I think that's just called continuous autofocus. An update to be able to track eyes of animals, which is a crazy cool thing. And then a time-lapse update, so Drew can leave his intervalometer at home. That's a big deal for him. For me, that's built into the camera on the EOS R, so no real difference there. But I told him, hey, I really liked your video, and when Canon does their next firmware update, I'm gonna show my users the same thing, because I actually think that the Canon experience is a little bit easier than the Sony experience to update. So, starting in the first place, you have to download the firmware. And what's really cool for the Canon experience is you just go to Canon's website. Click up top, signs you in automatically, and the very first thing that it shows is that firmware to download. You download that file, takes just about a minute. I've got a gigabit connection, I don't know about you, I'm sure it'll take a few more minutes if you're on a little bit slower connection. Unpack that zip file, and now you've got a firmware file that you can drop onto the SD card that you use to take your photos. So dropping that into the SD card becomes a pretty easy experience, and then the process becomes really boring. You go to your Canon menu, you go to menu number 6, you click firmware, you click update, and you just wait 2.5 minutes for your camera to come back on and to give you that new beautiful firmware. On the Canon EOS R, you get a couple really cool features with this update. So one is the same as the Sony. Eye autofocus, which I'm using right now to move in, to move out, is now attached to servo mode. And what's really cool is you can do it whether you're in servo mode or not. So you can actually just use it when you're making movies and still manual focus, but it will always track their eyes so you can get a better shot at that. And that's really, really cool. The other update is that servo mode in the picture profile, so when you're taking a regular standard photo, would not do eye autofocus. It was only when you were doing a single shutter. So now I've got that the whole way through, and I'm gonna demo that here with my daughter. So this is my daughter Izzy, and we're gonna go through a little demo of what the eye autofocus looks like.
Hi Izzy, ready to be my model?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to take a few steps backwards.
So as you can see, it's really cool, and it tracks all the way through from moving forwards, backwards, side to side, and even through a cartwheel. You can do some really cool things with that new eye autofocus. Now, if you have a Canon EOS R, there's a couple other small updates in there. There's some regular bug fixes. One in particular that I really am glad they fixed, which was the level, which is great for video, especially I'm sitting on a tripod right now. It's kind of hard sometimes to know if you're level or just a little bit off. And now that shows up everywhere. It didn't before, so that's a really nice positive change. And I noticed the focusing system just seems to feel a little bit faster. Maybe that's all in my head. You get new firmware, it's like getting an oil change in your car and you feel like it drives faster. But it's exciting to have, and I'm really glad Canon's investing time to get this camera updated. Hopefully they've got a 120p update to go in slow motion video. I'm doubtful, but we can all hope, right? 120 frames in 4K. Maybe just 1080p, I'd take it. However you want to get there, Canon. We'll be okay with it either way. But until next time, thanks for joining on day 19. I will see you tomorrow.